Hi everybody, Ralston27 back here for another wonderful World War II zombie video, and boy, there's actually so much more going on right now. Not that there might be endless stuff we need to figure out, but it's still cool to see details put into the game that no one's really talked about up to this point, or I haven't heard much discussion about it, and if it did happen, it was swept under the rug, or it was on release, and people didn't really get into it. So shut up, Reed. What is it? Well, let's listen to Olivia talk about what's inside the walls and some of the left and right hands of God and what's actually going on inside our chamber.
Those three altars below. The right hand of God, the left hand of God, the voice of God. What do they mean?
This altar, it calls for pure energy from the heavens. Lightning. It would seem even the ancient builders knew the difference between good and evil.
A lot of power. Only the saints, the pure in heart, could stand at the right hand of God. The left hand was for those tainted with darkness. These sockets, 4 swords were placed here in ancient times. Is there a tie between them and the Korbel? The ravens?
It fits, but I need 2 more!
It fits, but I'll need 2 more.
That's a lot of information to consume. Olivia seems to have the most rich quotes in the entire character group, which is insane to me. Why Marie doesn't have some of the better quotes, being the main character and protagonist of this group. Olivia's able to identify what's going on in these walls, which fascinates me about the details she goes into. So let's talk about them specifically. We have the right hand of God and the left hand of God being shown in the voice of God in this main mural we see on the walls. Now, the directors told us that there's all kinds of stuff going on, including Klaus has explicitly said there's a story written inside the walls inside the chamber that tells us what's been happening before we get here, and there's some details that are quite overlooked that I'm kind of excited to bounce ideas off of you right now. So the right hand she describes as being heavenly, and this is consistent through other texts and other references in normal history, where you have the left hand of God representing darkness and the right hand of God representing light, and the voice of God being like reason and other type of stuff like that. But she uses interesting lines. She talks about 4 swords being needed, so the Nazis actually modified the left hand of God to use those big old batteries that we keep placing into the hands instead of using these swords that seem to be lost. What you should notice in the left hand of God, and by the way, like, it's flipped. So when you look at this, you're like, no, that's the right hand of God. No, you got to go from God's perspective. So remember the opposite. Like, this is my right hand, this is my left hand, but to you, it looks different, unless I flip the video, but whatever. You'll notice the more interesting part is the left hand of God has 4 characters on it, and these are 4 different characters wielding a sword, a scythe, a mace, how was the other one? And a hammer. Very interesting choices here, but you'll notice the design if we zoom in here on the far left, on the left hand of God, the sword being used is Red Eagle's sword we get inside the game. Does that mean in the next 3 maps we'll be getting the mace, the scythe, and the hammer as melee weapons? I can certainly hope. Now, who are these guys and what's going on? Well, first we need to take you around the murals on the walls so we can discuss the story that I can interpret only so far, and the images are only so clear, but what I think is possibly going on here. So let's take you through it. It seems like the journey starts where they are either sent away from their homeland, cursed away, or they are sent on their own journey. I can't tell if those people in the background are throwing food and stuff at them and they're trying to get away from the city, or if they're waving them farewell and saying goodbye and wishing them well luck on their journey. I mean, he was a king. Barbarossa was going out. Maybe his people were wishing him well luck on whatever adventure he was going. Maybe he was searching of this new land, maybe some kind of prophesized land. You could play into all kinds of historical elements there. Or he was cursed away and going to make his mark on history still. He wasn't quite King Barbarossa yet. They traveled through the seas and it looked like they had heavy losses and casualties as they continued through these high waves, though I'm not sure at what point they went from Germany. They had to traverse oceans, like it looked like, so I'm not sure where they're actually going. It seems to be like a story of how they got to this mountain, so I'm just like wondering what bodies of water they were crossing, but I'm not an expert on German geography, so there could totally be Great Lakes or something in there. Once they land, they march to their newfound land, but I can even see in the background, it seems like they already have like castles established in there, or maybe their vision of what they're going to build, because then we finally see them over a rock and it looks like Barbarossa's pointing to like, hey, this is where we're going to settle down, and that's where they build their next civilization. And then it seems time goes on and Barbarossa has now reached his legendary status. His 4 right-hand men have sworn loyalty to us, and it's the same 4 that we see activating the left hand of God. So once he gets their loyalty, I imagine that's when they decide to create the right, the left, and the voices of God to protect their powerful weapons, their mystical artifacts of the sword of Barbarossa and whatever else we might see. Left behind is one of the 4 soldiers, and you could mirror the image of the horsemen of the apocalypse there, the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, with these 4 characters wielding these 4 items. So it seems that that's how they did it in ancient times. We actually have a quote talking about how did they get electricity from Drosten that we'll play right now.
How did Barbarossa's lads know about electrical current in 1100 AD? This place is wired up like a bloody Christmas tree.
And that makes perfect sense about how the hell do we know this type of stuff? And they definitely had these mystical weapons and these weird advancements in technologies that led them to be ahead of their time, but still using their weird ancient medieval weaponry to set up these devices that are being used by the Nazis today. But we're using electricity and all kinds of rods and using the clock tower and all these other structures in a different way than it was originally purposed, so that we can still activate the left, the right, and the voice of God. Now, the final thing I want to comment on this quick video was that the paintings had codes inside them, which I found fascinating before Klaus did anything to them. Klaus was the person that identified the codes in the paintings, and that calls back to our radios where he talks about another group being at play here, another group working against the Nazis and working to hide these magical weapons from the Nazis.
There must be codes hidden in the other paintings. It's working. This is some sort of code. This artist, he must have been trying to hide something from the Nazis. They were onto him, though. That must be why they were collecting these paintings. Some of these artists, they would have hated the Nazis. They would have worked against them.
Secret codes on valuable stolen paintings. The street value of these pieces just went through the roof. Seems like Klaus discovered something hidden in the painting. It seems like Klaus discovered something hidden in the painting.
The light from that monster's eyes. Somebody was hiding a secret message. Seems like Klaus discovered something hidden in the painting. Nothing natural reveals ultraviolet light.
Sometimes a hero is one who has come from darkness. Repose en paix.
Now, my worry here is now we got the sword of Barbarossa, right? The hilt and all that type of stuff, and we might get the blade in the next map. But if we have to use the 4 items of these, like, 4 horsemen of the apocalypse here, is that going to be, like, us collecting those weapons? Because that would suck, because then it's the fetch quest, and it's the soul keys, and the souls from BO3 all over again, and it sucks. I'm hoping that's not the case. I'm hoping we get the sword next map, and then Straub uses Klaus against Marie, because we've talked about in a previous video, you can check that out, whether or not Klaus died. But we even have a quote here that says Klaus isn't dead. You hear Jefferson say, "We'll find him, Marie," and that's in reference to after the Easter egg ends. So the first quote talks about he's dead, and that's when you don't save Klaus. But when you save Klaus, instead of saying he's dead again, like the same quote when he explodes and commits suicide, it's actually being referenced as, "We'll find him, he went somewhere."
Poor bastard. He gave his life to help us end this madness. I'm sorry, Marie. We'll find him. I promise. I'm sorry, Marie. We'll find him, I promise.
So Klaus could be used against Marie to get the sword, and then we'd have to fight Straub in DLC 3 and maybe 4 against Barbarossa once Straub uses the sword, the fallout from it, and then finally taking on Barbarossa's army. All that could amount to really interesting story, gameplay, and dynamics, though it's predictable, and if I'm calling it right now, that's frustrating, but that's where we could be headed with. I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments down below. I also want to let you know that I have my sale going on for one more day when you see this. So there's these beautiful stickers. Look at those. Oh, gorgeous. Beautifully designed. They peel off real nice. You can come them off there, and you can put them on all kinds of stuff. I love stickers on my laptops now. But as you can see, whoa, look at how nice those look. And this is my laptop. I never used to do stickers on laptops, but that's one aspect. Folders, cards, bumper stickers, whiteboards. You can put them on all kinds of stuff. If you're interested in that type of stuff, you can get them for a limited time. I'm trying to get them out before Christmas. All the Black Friday orders, I just received them in the mail. So now I'll be sending them all out by the next 2 days. So you should have them in plenty of time before Christmas. But the sale ends December 6th at 11:59 Eastern Standard Time. So make sure to pick those up if you want to support the channel, get something cool for Christmas, or put it on your list. You only have one more day. There are PayPal options as well. Thank you for watching. I'd love to know your thoughts about the story that's told in the murals, what to make of Klaus, and these character quotes. I'm Andersen27. I hope you've had an absolutely fantastic day so far. If you haven't, hopefully this brought you up a little bit. If not, stay tuned. There'll be more videos in the future. Hopefully you'll enjoy them. Make sure to subscribe for all your Call of Duty World War II Zombies and zombies coverage in general. And I hope you have an absolutely wonderful night. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.